Tonight, there are calls from the BC Conservative Party's old guard questioning John Rustad's leadership. Plus, officials in the Barkerville and Wells area are calling for better forest fuel management after wildfire scares. And a national survey says small businesses are on the upswing compared to last year. We speak to local businesses to see how things are going. Good evening, I'm Eddie Huband, and welcome to CKPG News. Our top story tonight, 2 months out from the provincial election, and things are heating up in the race of who will become BC's next government. A website has popped up calling for the leader of the Conservative Party, John Rustad, to be fired. And the BC United Party is continuing its offensive on Prince George Mackenzie Conservative candidate Rachel Weber. Adam Burrows has tonight's top story.
FireJohnRustad.ca. That is the website that has appeared from, quote, members of the BC Conservative Party who are severely concerned by the abandonment of conservative values of the party. According to the website, it says that Rustad will choose whoever it takes to get into power while abandoning the core principles of the party, using former BC United MLA Teresa Watt as an example.
This is one of those political activities that I think you see. But the real issue here is it appears to have used confidential information, confidential lists that is illegal to do. So we are compiling all the information that we have, and we will be sending it to the appropriate authorities for follow-up.
Political science instructor Chris Beach says that with a change in leadership, the party's old guard may be trying to take back some of its power.
You often do see these kinds of things when there's such a huge movement in terms of support and power and influence. That kind of the old guards of those parties will often try to take back some power, if you will.
But it's not just internal party politics that is dominating the conversation. Social media posts from BC Conservative candidate for Prince George Mackenzie, Rachel Weber, were released to the press by BC United, and that has attracted the attention of Premier David Eby.
I think it would be helpful for him to come out and explain why his candidates believe that cell phone towers cause COVID-19 and are genocidal weapons.
And just today, another press release from BC United bringing up another social media post from Rachel Weber suggesting that microchips and credit cards are signs of the Antichrist's arrival and the impending rapture. As of Wednesday, August 21st, Rachel Weber is still a candidate with the Conservative Party of BC. Chris Beach says that despite BC United's efforts to hamper Weber's campaign, the Conservatives have said they won't bow to cancel culture.
Nothing seems to be stopping this rise of the BC Conservative Party and their support. So you can't blame BC United for trying. They've really got nothing to lose at this point. So we'll just have to wait and see just how deep and how widespread this goes.
CKPG News has reached out to Rachel Weber for comment, but did not receive a response. Adam Burrows, CKPG News.
The fire season is far from over, according to the Ministry of Emergency Management, who provided a weekly update today. While the cooler weather has helped, there are still drought conditions and storms on the horizon. And for the northern region of the province, weather has been helpful, but it's not the end of the story.
In general, I would say we are in a much different place than we were last season going into the fall. We have a lot of fire on the landscape. However, a lot of those fires are much smaller compared to what they were last year. And so as we get into what we're now seeing on a lot of our fires into that mop-up phase, there may still be a fire that is being held or under control, which would have some alerts associated with it potentially. But the size of the fires being much smaller this year really diminishes how much work and effort is needed to bring those fires into full containment and then into an out status.
And while the BC Wildfire Service says the region is not out of the woods on the wildfire front, there are already concerns being raised about ways the season could have been curbed. In particular, the head of Barkerville has some specifics. Cheryl Jan has more about concerns regarding forest fuel management.
The Antler Creek fire that forced the evacuations of both Barkerville and Wells was first spotted southwest of Barkerville on July 20th. It was noted early on from local government officials that the conditions with dead wood and tricky terrain made it a challenge to get a handle on that fire, a fire the head of Barkerville called a monster fire. It was also Al Richmond who noted that the fuel sources became problematic.
And that whole corridor along the highway from Quesnel to Wells and into Barkerville is lined with dead pine. It's a bomb waiting to go off. And unfortunately, fuel mitigation, wildfire fire smarting, for want of a better word, because we can't fireproof anything, is an ongoing task. And so we have to find a balance as to how we can get money to do more of that.
He suggests that had there been proper fuel management in the first place, the Antler Creek fire would not have taken off to the degree it did.
That these hundreds of millions of dollars are spent on a monster fire that was threatening both the community, both wells and the community wells and Barkerville. And so those are all things that we need to do and prioritize. There's little point in improving other things in Barkerville if we can't protect the basic infrastructure.
But the Minister of Forests says the mountain pine beetle epidemic did a lot of damage to BC forests and efforts were made to address it.
Over the last 20 years, the harvesting of the results of the mountain pine beetle, where the trees are rendered dead, has been, the cut was elevated, raised to incent and low stumpage to incent the cutting of a lot of that wood.
But Richmond says the federal government was, quote, totally absent, unquote.
Also, I can tell you right now, I'll be very blunt. The federal government's completely absent. They're telling that we're a federal government site. There is no federal money. So maybe it's gone to the feds and saying, Mr. Prime Minister, you need to come up with some money so we can do fire mitigation in here. And we need to have a hard look. I think Jasper's pointed out to the Parks branch and other ones about this reluctance and how we manage fiber.
He says he will be knocking on doors in both Victoria and Ottawa in the near future once the wildfire season is done. Cheryl Jan, CKPG News.
Prince George RCMP are asking for the public's help in finding a wanted man. Isaiah Alexander James Hayden is wanted on breach of parole. Beyond the tattoos you see on his face, he also has tattoos on his fingers. Standing at 5'11", weighing 205 pounds, RCMP say he is considered dangerous and should not be approached. If you do have information, please contact Prince George RCMP or Crime Stoppers if you want to remain anonymous. Canada's two main railway companies are just hours away from an unprecedented labor stoppage that will set off a damaging domino effect on the Canadian economy. If a deal isn't reached, they will be off the job as of 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday. The Prime Minister is urging both sides to avoid that worst-case scenario and has rejected calls from multiple business groups to intervene.
Freight across the country could be just hours away from a standstill.
There has been, I would say, some movement, but both parties remain apart on the key issues.
The union, representing over 9,000 employees from both CN and CP railways, still can't agree on scheduling issues, safety concerns, and a forced relocation plan proposed by CN, making it increasingly likely Canada could be headed for a major economic shutdown at 12:01 Thursday morning.
It is totally unacceptable for us as a country to sabotage ourselves right now.
Sabotage that the federal government could stop. The railroads have asked the Liberals to force all parties into binding arbitration, something the Labour Minister has rejected. Back to work legislation also an option, but the Prime Minister seems reluctant to use either choice.
It is in the best interest of both sides to continue doing the hard work at the table to find a negotiated resolution.
That scenario seems unlikely at this point.
We have proposed to increase the predictability and scheduling for employees, but the union hasn't wanted to engage with us on any of those points.
That is a lie. That is indicative of the type of attitude this company has had since the very beginning.
If a last-second deal can't be reached, over $1 billion worth of goods a day would be stuck, including food, jet fuel, auto parts, and potentially the most concerning shortage, chlorine, used to disinfect drinking water and moved almost exclusively by rail.
If this disruption were to last for more than a few weeks, it could lead to things like, water restrictions.
While rail stoppages have happened before, Donna, CN and CP have never both shut down at the same time, making Thursday's potential stoppage the first of its kind in over 100 years.
And we bring in Adam Burles now to discuss this looming strike, which could have some very, very bad implications for the economy. Adam, we'll start here. Let's look at the local sort of angle. What's the local reaction to this strike?
Right. So first thing I want to mention is the Prince George Chamber of Commerce has released a letter urging rapid action on the looming rail strike, particularly writing to the federal government. They signed a joint letter to the Prime Minister from a bunch of various business groups across the province to really find a solution, because as we just saw in those two previous stories, this strike could have potential impacts on a whole number of industries, too many that I can't even name right now. This chamber also wrote a letter to the Canada Industrial Relations Board back in May, explaining essentially how key of our terminal, our intermodal CN terminal here in Prince George is to moving goods across BC, but also across the north. So to have the chamber come out and say, yeah, we need action now, and we need action fast, is a pretty significant step. And in the letter, they're not taking sides per se, but they are saying, they respect the right to collective bargaining, but it's not about siding with the party, but it's about coming to a solution and standing up for the welfare of Prince George in particular and the people who work here.
Very troubling. How much of an impact, is this going to have on our forestry industry?
Right, so we look at the forestry industry. I mean, a lot of stuff gets shipped out through the Port of Vancouver and also the Port of Prince Rupert. So when we saw yesterday a story that Cheryl Jan did talking about, shipping companies not deciding to come to Vancouver, not coming to Prince Rupert until the strike is resolved, that could have billions of dollars of impacts into the local economy. In 2023 alone, BC forest product exports were worth $11 billion. Big money. That's going to hurt if the strike even takes place and services are interrupted even for a day, 2 days. That ripple effect is going to be felt right across the entire economy, particularly the forestry industry, which is already hard hit in BC enough with mill closures and curtailments. Now we're not going to be able to get our product to market. That's going to be an even bigger hit to companies and to the people working in those jobs, getting the trees down and physically driving them to market. It's going to be a tough one if this goes through.
Yeah, absolutely, it will. We will continue to follow this developing story as it continues to develop. Hopefully they can get something done, but we will see.
24 hours.
Adam Burrows, thank you very much for that. In other news, a new survey says close to 60% of small business owners across the country are doing better this year compared to the first half of 2023. And several Prince George businesses have certainly enjoyed the boost. Tommy Osborne spoke to a couple small business owners around town and brings us more.
Business has been booming for small businesses across Canada, according to a survey run by Insurance.com with 1,000 small business owners. 58.5% of small businesses say 2024 has been better compared to the first half of 2023, and many in Prince George are certainly feeling the boost.
Our revenue is up anywhere between 28 to 33% depending on the month, so we are seeing a definite increase.
Kinney says the slowing rate of inflation alongside dropping interest rates means people have more disposable income to spend, which is key for businesses specializing in luxury services.
Wellness and personal care, that tends to be the first thing that gets neglected, so to speak. I'm finding gift card sizes are going up. We're finding people are not just giving smaller amounts, but larger amounts, creating gift card packages for loved ones.
Beyond wellness and health services like C'est La Spa, more disposable income has also meant other sectors, like restaurants, have seen great business too.
We're not even a year old yet. We're still about a month out from that. But I mean, we've been in a steady kind of growth pattern. So I mean, is 24 doing great for us? Absolutely.
Even though Wall of Fame hasn't even hit its 1-year anniversary yet, Reinitz says business this year has been so strong that he's planning to expand already.
The support's been amazing. I mean, I do think this type of business or restaurant, mind you, is a little bit underserviced in our downtown core. So I mean, we filled a bit of a gap in the market that it's gone great for us.
When local businesses flourish, the entire community follows suit. Beyond the creation of new jobs when a new business like Wall of Fame expands, Kinney added C'est La Spa has been able to hire more people as well.
We were able to actually give a wage increase to our staff, which I'm quite proud of this summer. With the increase in revenue for us, we've just been able to turn that around and give raises and make the living wage in Prince George and go beyond that.
Zensurance's survey also revealed 1/3 of small businesses are planning on hiring, thanks to continued strong support. Tommy Osborne, CKPG News.
The Knox Performance Center will be hosting a unique show this coming Tuesday. The show is called Let's Be Honest, and it's being touted as a hilarious and sentimental show about a young woman's journey coming out. Laura Piccini hails from Toronto and reached out to the Knox Performance folks about the Western tour. The Knox Performance Center is located in the same building as the Trinity United Church, which has undergone a change in ideology.
A few years ago, we took the somewhat atypical step of becoming an official affirming ministry within the United Church of Canada. So that was a year-long program of self-study and education and discernment around whether or not we wanted to formally become a space where we said that folks of different orientations, expressions, and identities were all welcome and all considered part of God's wonderful creation. We said yes to that, and then it kind of led us to a further step of saying that we wanted to officially be an anti-racist community, not just non-racist, but anti-racist. And so the two kind of work together for us.
The lowest gas price in Prince George as of this morning was sitting at $1.63.9 per liter at Costco. The lowest price in the province is in Mission at $1.55.9 per liter. Manitoba has the lowest fuel prices on average in Canada at $1.44.3 per liter, while BC has an average price of $1.71.7 per liter.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Join the Domino's Lunch Club with 25% off all regular price pizzas every day. Visit domino's.ca to join the club.
Just days away from the start of a new season, the UNBC Timberwolves men's soccer team is adding a new local player to the roster. Caden Young, a graduate of the Prince George Youth Soccer Academy, has committed to the T-Wolves for the season and beyond. He believes his pace and vision is one of his best strengths and is excited to add to his skill set to a young UNBC core looking to utilize its speed and youth to its advantage. Young adds that as a local product, he's looking forward to playing for the team he grew up watching, and he can't wait to hit the pitch.
This has always been a dream of mine. I grew up watching the Timberwolves. I grew up training with some of them. Like Fran used to coach me all the time. A whole bunch of like the legends. Playing against them in men's leagues, this has always been a dream. The reason I chose UNBC is because I love Steve, the guys that have grown up playing with most of them already. So it just kind of felt nice to be back with them. We already have a connection, and Steve's been great with me. He's always been welcoming. I love the facilities here, and I live close to home, just so I get to stay home with my family. It's cheap, it's nice, it's everything I've kind of dreamed for as a kid.
Good evening again. We are looking at fog developing overnight, but as we take you back from earlier today on our satellite and all the way back to about 11 a.m. And yeah, it was pretty cloudy out there for the most part. And of course, looking at the chances of showers kind of plaguing most of the region on and off. We are looking at a better trend for the next couple of days. We do have some fog coming in tonight, though. So tomorrow morning, we will wake up with some foggy patches, or we could be waking up in most areas with fog patches, dissipating though as the morning goes on, and some nice sunshine returning. So Futurecast looks pretty good until about Friday night, maybe Saturday, where we could see another system coming through, but we'll keep an eye on that. So a nice bright one for us tomorrow, 23 our high. It'll be a better temperature range tomorrow as well. It was a bit cool across the region today, 25 in Fort St. James, mainly sunshine, Fort St. John rather, mainly sunshine, 29 down through Kamloops, mix of sun and cloud there, and looking at a warmer trend for the next few days ahead. South coast, at least the southern half of Vancouver Island, Victoria 17 degrees, so still dealing with some rain falling for tomorrow, but otherwise we should be brightening up pretty much everywhere. So our broadcast region looks pretty good, 23 Burns Lake, Vanderhoof, Fort St. James, and yes, lots of sunshine everywhere you go, warmer down through Quesnel and McBride. 23 in Edmonton, sunshine there, lots of sunny sky in Regina, and a break from any of the showers and risks of thunderstorms as that's now moved a little bit more east, and you can see into Winnipeg. That's where we have some of that instability now. 18 Montreal, warmer down through Toronto. Halifax looking good as well with sunshine at 23. Jumping ahead to the weekend, we are looking at a system that may be moving in on Saturday, so we'll keep an eye on the timing of that. But otherwise, it looks to be a pretty pleasant one for the most part. 4 overnight tonight, though, Burns Lake, very chilly tonight, up to 23 tomorrow. You've got lots of sunshine for the next few days, maybe a bit more cloud cover on Friday. And then, yes, for the weekend, at least part of it looks pretty nice out there. 6 tonight in Mackenzie, 23 tomorrow, partly sunny skies, really nice out there for the next several days ahead. We can see a bit of a drop in temperatures gradually, and then a real jump down though comes Sunday at 16 degrees. So we are going to be moving into a cooler trend as we get into the later half of the weekend and early next week in some areas, and that will be for many places right across most of our region. 6 overnight tonight, patchy clouds in McBride. You're up to 26 though, tomorrow. Really nice and warm tomorrow. Sunshine on Friday. We'll see a little more cloud cover here and there on Saturday with some rain that we're tracking. So that's that system that may be impacting certain areas of our region on Saturday, and a jump down in temperatures, or a drop down, 18 degrees, 22 degrees on Sunday, though. And again, we're kind of, as you can see, the temperatures going down after the weekend and into early next week, where it could be a cooler trend. 8 overnight tonight in Quesnel. You're up to 25 for the next couple of days, though. Some sunshine anticipated for the most part, and for us as well. A pretty good looking forecast after tonight. 23 for our high tomorrow. We're up to 24 on Friday, and then a gradual drop in temperatures as the days go on, Saturday, Sunday. But yes, we will look at mostly sunshine for the weekend, although tracking a system that may be impacting some parts of the region on Saturday, as we mentioned earlier.
The TSX is up 84 points to close at 23,122. The Dow Jones is up 56 points to close at 40,890. And CN Rail went up 18 cents to close at $155.28.
CKPG Sports is delivered by Domino's. Join the Domino's Lunch Club with 25% off all regular price pizzas every day. Visit domino's.ca to join the club.
Tonight's CKP3 is showcasing the best of yesterday's MLB action, which saw the prolific Yankees duo continue to impress, and the fastest fastball of the season.
Starting off with back-to-back home runs.
Driven to right field. Going back Noel on the track. He leaps. See ya. A short porch job. It's 1-0 Yanks. High fly ball. Right center field. Schneemann back. He's on the track. He's at the wall. See ya. Back-to-back Soto and Judge.
Juan Soto and Aaron Judge continue to be must-watch TV for baseball fans. Arguably the best 1-2 hitting duo in the league, Soto and Judge continue their hot streak as Judge adds to his league-leading home runs with his 45th on the season. Next up, blazing pitches.
Swing and a miss, strike three. Say goodnight to the Royals. Ben Joyce goes with straight power.
Ben Joyce takes down Bobby Witt Jr. with an insane sequence, throwing 3 straight fastballs that eclipsed 104 miles per hour. Those were the fastest pitches of the season, as Joyce opts to go purely for power and win the game with ridiculous speed. Finally, the most confusing home run of the day.
62, a drive to right center field. Robles on the run, he's at the track, he leaps. It is still up against the wall. They're saying home run, the ball is on the warning track. I think everybody's confused.
Seems like no one knew what was happening here, and who can blame them? While it did clear the fence, somehow the ball actually snuck back out onto the field. Certainly a bizarre home run that Gavin Lux won't be forgetting soon in tonight's CKP3.
All right, folks, that's all for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us as always, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening.